Over the past 2 seasons, the New Orleans Pelicans have been a really disappointing team because in the 2020-2021 NBA season, a lot of people were expecting them to at least compete for the 8th seed in the Western Conference, but they ended up not getting it and not really being close. And especially this past season, a lot of people were expecting them to at least make the play-in tournament with all the moves they made, and somehow with all the talent on their roster, they somehow missed out on it again. And over the offseason, we heard some rumors about how Zion Williamson might look to leave the team if they don't improve or start winning. So obviously right now the Pelicans need to start winning some games, and that's led me to make this video where I'll be discussing how I would fix the New Orleans Pelicans, basically discussing some things they could do to become a better team. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want more NBA content like this, and if you want to help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Also drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. The first step I would take to fix the New Orleans Pelicans is looking to trade Brandon Ingram in exchange for Damian Lillard. And yes, I'm aware that Ingram is this team's second best player and he's really important, but if you actually watch Pelicans games, it's kind of obvious that Ingram and Zion aren't a perfect fit alongside each other. They're not a disastrous fit or anything like that, but they're not the perfect fit because Zion needs a guy who can space the floor out from the three-point line at a really good level, and Ingram can shoot three-pointers, but he's not the best in the world, and he's best, like his game's at its best when he's shooting around the mid-range area, and that kind of messes up the floor spacing for both Ingram and Zion because Zion's just there in the paint. So there could be questions about how well of a fit they can be, but if they could get Dame, I guarantee you this would be one of the best duos in the league because that's a duo that would actually work together. It wouldn't be just two really good players on the same team, which is what Ingram and Zion are right now, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. Zion would have so much more space to attack the basket since Lillard would be forcing his defender to guard him from the half-court line, and then vice versa, Lillard would get way more open shots because Zion's unstoppable in the paint and he's going to demand double teams. And I honestly think this package that the Pelicans could offer the Blazers is as good as any team's package, because the team that has been most linked to Dame is the Philadelphia 76ers, and they would trade like Ben Simmons for him. And in my opinion, I think Brandon Ingram is clearly the better player than Ben Simmons right now and going forward, and I think the Blazers would rather have Ingram. The only team that I think can compete with the Pelicans in terms of like a package is the Boston Celtics, who could give up Jaylen Brown, who in my opinion is a little bit better than Brandon Ingram. Boston also has a bunch of other players who have shown a lot of promise, but honestly, if Dame doesn't go to the Celtics, I think the Pelicans can make an offer better than any other team in the NBA. And in my opinion, I think the trade they would offer them is Brandon Ingram, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, then maybe like 3 first-round picks. And I honestly think that would be a good enough team. Like that team would be good enough to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference and a for sure playoff team. And I think a duo of Damian Lillard and Zion Williamson would be a top 5 duo in the league. So if I'm the Pelicans, I'm at least looking to trade for Damian Lillard. The second step I would take if I was the New Orleans Pelicans is that I would try and trade for Buddy Hield of the Sacramento Kings. And I know this is a pretty obvious move, but it's due to the fact that it's been like 2 years now since Hield has been in the trade rumors. I think he would be an absolutely amazing fit on this team. He's one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he's a great catch-and-shoot shooter. He's a guy who can shoot off the dribble at a decent level and create his own shot. He would just space the floor out at a crazy level for Ingram and Zion. It would allow them to score way more easily, and it would also open up a lot of shots for Hield. He would get the most open shots he's ever gotten in his career when the defense double team Zion or Ingram. I don't even think they would have to give up a crazy amount to get Hield from Sacramento, because Hield has been on the rumors for so long. I think Sacramento just wants to get rid of him, and I honestly think the trade would be like Josh Hart and a future first-round pick to Sacramento, and that would be enough to get Buddy Hield. And although Hart is a really good player and he's one of the more underrated players in the NBA, Hield is just clearly a much better player. He's better at shooting and things like that, and I feel like a move like that would definitely not look huge like on paper, but it would make them so much more of a better team. The third thing I would do to fix the New Orleans Pelicans is to start Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I know this doesn't seem like a huge thing, but I really think it will help this team. And I also do know that Josh Hart is a really valuable player who has an impact further than just his stats, as he's a really good defender, a decent three-point shooter, and he's one of the best rebounding guards in the entire NBA. But I feel like this team needs to go all out on like the offense side of the floor, because I actually think they could be one of the best offensive teams in the NBA because they have the talent to do so. And I think if they start Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the starting lineup, he'll really help them, since he's way much more of a scorer than Josh Hart. Because in Nickeil's 13 starts last season, he looked like a legitimate great starter, literally averaging 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 41% from 3. And in my opinion, I think he's just a way more comfortable player when he's in the starting lineup rather than when he's coming off the bench. And I think he's shown that he could be a 16 to 18 point scorer consistently, and I think that could really help this team out. And I think he's too good to be coming off the bench as a six man. I think he has the potential to be at least this team's third or fourth leading scorer this upcoming season. The fourth step I would take towards making the New Orleans Pelicans better is making their newly signed free agent in Devonte Graham their fourth or fifth leading shot taker. Because unlike most people, I actually like the signing of Devonte Graham because he's a really good playmaker and he's an elite three-point shooter. The only problem I have with him is he's literally not good at anything outside of just shooting the ball on offense and like his playmaking. He's actually one of the worst finishers in the NBA, and he doesn't have much of a mid-range game. And defenses, in my opinion, have kind of figured him out to where they just close out on his three because they know he's probably not like gonna make a mid-range, and he's probably just gonna brick a friggin' layup. He's not really good at anything else. The thing about Devonte is that he's a player who absolutely loves to shoot the ball. There's not a shot that he doesn't like, contested or not contested. And he's one of the most inefficient scorers in the NBA. He hasn't even had a season shooting over 40% from the field. Absolutely terrible. And I think whoever the head coach of the Pelicans is, I kind of forgot at this like right now, but they need to make sure Devonte's not hijacking the offense, taking a bunch of shots a game, because he actually has done that in Charlotte in the past. And I think Zion and Ingram should be taking more shots than him, obviously, but I honestly think Jonas Valanciunas, who they recently traded for, should be shooting the ball more than him because he's their third best player and he's an efficient scorer. But I also could see a world where Devonte is shooting more than him just because Jonas is a center, meaning he has to rely on Devonte to like pass him the ball. Honestly, I would rather even see Nickeil Alexander-Walker take more shots than Devonte because he's a way more efficient player who can do more than just shoot three-pointers. Honestly, I think Devonte should just be a guard who shoots like 7 threes a game and just attacks the rim and creates plays for others like Ingram and Zion. I don't really want him doing too much because that's what he did last year in Charlotte and he had a down year. He's a player who's really inconsistent. He can have a game where he goes off for 30 points, hits 6 threes. Next game, he can literally, not even joking, go for like 10 points, go 1 for 12. I'm not even joking. So I think as long as he's not hijacking the offense, it could drastically make them a better team because I think he's kind of the X factor for this team since they did lose Lonzo Ball. To conclude the video, I actually think the New Orleans Pelicans had a pretty solid offseason because although they did lose Lonzo Ball, they replaced him with a point guard who's not as good in Devonte Graham, but I also feel like Lonzo didn't want to be in New Orleans, so there's no point of keeping him there. I also really like the addition of Jonas Valanciunas because he's probably a top 10 center in the NBA. He's a guy who can average 18 points and 10 rebounds because he literally did that last season. I also really like them getting rid of Eric Bledsoe because he's probably one of the worst players in the NBA that gets significant minutes, and Steven Adams is a good player, but he just wasn't like a good fit on this team. So I think overall they improved as a team, and I think their X factor this upcoming season is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I'm kind of excited to see how he plays because I've been a fan of his game. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think the Pelicans are going to make the playoffs next year. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA daily NBA content. And if you want, I'm just trying to go 1,500 subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.